Hi, everybody. It's so exciting. We have another episode, and it's a very special treat. This is one of, I call him my mentor, but truly
Oh,
one of my
what?
heroes. Yes,
That's
the,
awesome.
the senior director for partnership within the PCUSA in the Agency of Presbyterian Life and Witness. And this is the Dr. Corey Schlosser-Hall,
Thank
who
you, Francis.
yeah, so um, he does so much. And I'm not going to even try to tell you what he does because I'm just going to screw up. But I'll let him share a little bit of that. But I want to start with this because I actually lurk around, which is
Yeah.
because I
So
was
you're a
checking out.
lurker.
Yeah, so I was checking on your LinkedIn bio and
Yeah.
where I really love this. You said, I help people and teams grow, adapt, and exceed expectations. And I do this by connecting with people on a deeper level, providing creative tools that help them to thrive and empowering them to go beyond what they thought possible.
Hmm.
And I really love the last bit. It says here that you obviously you have extensive business experience and you enjoy working with diverse team to
Yeah.
maximize human potential for the common good. I'm like, did you copy that from somewhere else, Corey? I mean, because that was just so like articulately put and beautifully put. And so
Oh,
I kind of wanted to, because I know you also check in with a lot of mid-council leaders, and we all
yeah.
looked up to you because you really were the first one doing a lot of creative stuff out for the Presbytery of Northwest Coast.
Hmm.
You were there for a while, so you were in our roles for a long time before you said, "I'm going to go work." With the denomination and probably have a bigger impact. So, anyway, welcome.
Thank
You,
you.
you want to share a little bit more about yourself?
Well, it's such a treat to hang out with you guys. Thank you so much for the opportunity to connect. And I'm a huge admirer of the both of you. And we have both of us, all three of us, have some long-standing connections as mid-council leaders. Francis and Sean, both of you serving the larger PCUSA in a variety of ways, and being West Coasters.
Yes.
I love that we can just say one time zone when coordinating our podcast interview. Like,
Yes,
And West Coast
absolutely.
is not starting in Denver because that's our joke. The Rocky Mountains, that's where everyone thinks the West Coast is. Denver is not the West Coast. There's more to it.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's kind of like still calling, Ohio the Great Northwest.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
250 years old, people. Let's get on with it. Yeah.
So yeah,
So,
we are glad that you're with us because you've helped both me and Francis as we both came into these roles because you were someone I talked to a few how do I even
Yeah.
work in a mid council, and you and I spent
Yeah,
countless
totally.
hours kind of working through, okay, how do we change culture? And so
Yeah,
mhm.
I
that's
think, and
big.
that's what I've known you as a person to be, as this person of cultural change, because you did a lot of stuff at Northwest Coast, even before you got to Presbyterian Life and Witness, that
Hmm.
I would love to,
Mm-hmm.
because you consolidated Alaska, Central Washington into Northwest Coast. So now Laura Terasaki has this huge region, Presbyterian
Yes.
now, that she's dealing with there.
She's amazing
But
though,
there's some
man.
Yeah.
innovative things that you created out of Northwest Coast that you now that help other execs like Francis and me, and now you've
Okay.
taken it to the denomination. So just talk a little about your innovative spirit that got you here.
Well, um, I think one way of talking about it is that I got to tell you about this trip back from Lake Tahoe. So this was before I started working with what's now PLNW. When I started with the PCUSA, it was with what was Presbyterian Mission Agency. That was 2022.
Mm-hmm.
But it was before then. And every summer, my family loves to go to Zephyr Point and Lake Tahoe down
Yes.
closer to you guys. And so we take a week vacation down there, and it's always and then on our way down and back, we always go back to the University of Oregon and meet friends and walk the campus because we're both Ducks. Go Ducks.
Hmm.
And, and we just have this adventure. We drive down and back. We don't fly, and it's a great experience. But anyway, it's always doing something like that always involves sort of reflection on where where are we at in our lives and our family and in our vocations and what is God up to with us now. So that was one of those things on the way home. We were driving home from Lake Tahoe about 4 years ago, and uh, my wife, Adrian, who is the pastor of the family, I'm a ruling elder. She's the teaching elder. And she just always asks the best questions. And she started asking questions one morning on the way back. And I started just talking because I like to externally process and sometimes too much. Um, and she just kind of said, you know, what it sounds like is a key thread for you is um, helping people reinvent ministry for the common good. And it was just this little turn of phrase, this sense of, oh, and I shifted it a little bit, especially when we're talking with fellow Presbyterians and or other people who follow Jesus, you know, reinventing ministry for the kingdom of God, which I sense there's this bigger understanding of the kingdom of God and the process of shalomification on earth as in heaven. And that sense of God's wholeness becoming part of individuals, their families, their broader communities, and how the church plays a leavening, a salty, an inventive role in helping that come to life on earth. And so that whole notion of reinventing ministry for the kingdom of God, or people outside of the church might better respond to the common good,
Hmm.
is a really driving, motivating thing for me. And so I keep that's kind of a lens through which all of these variety of things get seen, if you will. And so things like when the Alaska Presbytery in the Presbytery of the Northwest Coast, what became the Presbytery of the Northwest Coast, started wondering when they had dismissed several congregations to other denominations, started wondering what do we do now? How do we do this? We engaged in discernment with them and started to realize all the sinews of connection, and they started to realize some things uh, in us that they admired and wanted to be a part of. We started to realize some things in them that we admired and wanted to be a part of. And we said, well, let's bring this together and find where it's in common, where we can serve the common good, where we can demonstrate a larger exhibition of the kingdom of heaven to the world.
Hmm.
And so that it just became obvious to us that this is what we should do. And then we did that with Central Washington Presbytery as well. And sorry for those long words, but that's one of the six great ends of the church
Yeah,
is
no,
being an
no, no.
exhibition of the kingdom of
Yep.
heaven. So that if people look at what we're up to, it ought to be an exhibit, a display of what the kingdom of
Right.
heaven is like. And so when we can grow more diverse, when we can grow more inventive, when we can get over ourselves and do something fresh that mimics God's
Mm.
creation in a new way, then whoo, that is it. And when people are on that kind of adventure together and their willingness to take those kinds of risks, that is just the most adventurous way to live and
Hmm.
so much fun and engaging and wholehearted. And man, when I experience so many parts of the church, people keep talking about being tired. People keep talking about being, you know, a variety of expressions like that. But there are so many places in Christ's church, in this mainline Protestant dynamic denomination, that are alive and
Yeah.
experimenting and
Yeah.
doing incredible stuff. And you guys bear witness to that a lot through this
Yeah.
podcast, but also in your
Yeah.
ministries. So thank you.
Wow.
Yeah,
I don't know if
because
that helps at all set a tone
Yes,
or set a
absolutely.
sense of, yeah,
Absolutely.
that's great.
yeah, because I remember one of the first times you and I met, there was a conference. It was, I forgot what it's called, something 2.0, that like Nick
Verge.
Warren is Verge, yes. And you brought everybody, you flew people in from Alaska, and it was
Mm,
just this great big melting pot of ideas, of people coming together and sharing different ideas, how you can just get innovative ideas to people, pastors, ruling elders, anyone in your congregations, to
yeah,
just really start to think about different things. And I think that was is it's a great ethos to start to develop, because you and I have talked about how do we develop culture, or how do we
Yeah.
change culture in our
yeah,
presbyteries, that culture that we've had for 20 years. How do we change some of that? And it's first, a lot of it is investing in people. And
yeah,
how do we bring people around to different people, that just to have discussions about things.
yeah. Whew. Culture change is big and it's so important.
Yeah.
Um, and and it's every day. So
Mm,
the thing that I keep thinking about, especially regarding organizational culture, is that the next person who you connect with in the Presbytery of Riverside or the Presbytery of San Diego, or the next person that you connect with in your congregation, or the next person that connects with your ministry, they are going to uh, experience your culture for the first time.
mm,
And it's going to be normal for them. So, whatever shift that you made 5 minutes ago in your
mm,
attitude, in your approach, in your expectations of people as you're interacting with them becomes what the next person experiences as normal and usual. And so, if you just keep repeating your habits, attitudes, and behaviors of the past, that's going to become the new normal for the next person. If you are able to make a shift in that, if you're able to, sometimes it's just really simple stuff. It's a shift in tone, or it's a shift in welcome, or it's a shift in not being skeptical at first, but being exploratory at first, or
Yeah.
whatever it happens to be. Um, the next person is going to pick up on that. And the so we have a renewed every morning opportunity to shift organizational culture. And I always use the term shift, never switch, because it's always it's always in process, and
right.
there can be more and or less and or different, but it's not an off and on process. So,
Right.
and then,
Corey,
yeah,
I
keep going.
so I love what we're just talking about now, shifting culture. I almost feel like that's every EP's job, right?
It is.
Because before we're called, the number one thing, it's always like, oh, we know we have to change. It's not even
Mhm.
like we want to change. It's like, oh, nothing is working right now. We really need you to come in and make some changes, right? But then how do you talk to those people, or how do you have conversation with people to get them to a level of truly feeling like, yeah, we have to make some changes and you might not like it. And but you said it, right? You said it. This is necessary. But like the action, sometimes how do you ease people's discomfort? Or
Mm.
how do you create that trust level where people are ready to kind of like go? And because a lot of time when we do this kind of work, we get a lot of questions from people like, well, we used to do it this way. Oh, remember we used to do all these events, right?
Mhm.
And so, but then when you actually do a study on the trending
Yeah.
of the life of that presbytery, and Sean and I talked about this a lot. It's like, I bet this presbytery we have right now, it's not even the same presbytery that was 2 years ago or even 3 years ago.
Mm.
But how do you combat that of that sense of longing to recapture what used to be?
I also
Mm.
think it's churches too, and nonprofits. So it isn't just presbyteries. I
Right.
think it's all moving organic parts. You know what I mean? Organizations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whew. So, 90 seconds or less.
No, take
We'll
as
give you
long as you
120
want.
seconds.
Yeah, that's a loaded question. I apologize, but
Yeah,
I was just thinking about this a lot
yeah,
lately is
yeah,
how, how do we inspire people to
yeah,
want to move certain ways? Because I understand it's a risk either
yeah,
way.
yeah. Well, this is such a great question, and it's the subject of multi-day engagements. So,
Yeah.
however, let me share a couple of thoughts. One is uh, one of the things that I've learned early on is that if somebody thinks that you are trying to change them, it frequently doesn't work. So, I mean,
Agree.
as soon as we know, hey, you're trying to get me to change.
Hmm.
Yeah.
There's something that shifts in the relationship and
Right.
um, in the interpretation of intent
Hmm.
and what's going on. And in some cases, it even creates a little more standoffishness.
Yeah.
Um, and I mean, even if you say, well, the whole church just decided we should act this way,
Right.
it's yeah. So
Right.
I mean the ways I think it's really important for people to become kind of a student of their own change processes. How do I change a habit? How does,
Hmm.
what happens in me to get that to occur? How do I change an attitude? What happens in me to get that occur? And usually, we learn something new in there that, well, it's maybe not new to, it's certainly not new to you guys, but when people feel trusted, loved, and secure, it's much easier for them to be to explore a new possibility. It's much easier for them to be accept an invitation. It's much easier
Hmm.
for them to take a different
Right.
step. If they feel judged, critiqued, uh, and analyzed, it's not as helpful. But
Hmm.
we've come from a really high cognition Christian stream of influence. And so we love our analyses. We love we love our critiques. We love our historical investigations. We love, to identify all the things that are wrong with society and with each other and other things like that, and
Yeah.
then say that's got to shift. But one of the things that we have, we made primary when I was serving in the Northwest Coast Presbytery, and it's so cool. Laura Terasaki is the executive presbyter there now, and man, she's doing remarkable stuff. If you guys haven't seen like some of the latest campaigns and developments that they've been doing, it's really amazing how they go about it.
She was one of our guests earlier on. So
Oh,
if people want to
fantastic!
listen to that,
We got her.
definitely.
Go back. Go
Yep.
back a
Yeah,
few months.
Yep.
love it. Well, we pulled out this fabulous little quote in the Book of Order that I think said it was four simple words that said a ton. And it basically said, all, all of this polity, this whole thing that you're going to read about in the Book of Order, it all rests on the love and trust of the fellowship. In other
Mm,
words, there's a squishy and most incarnate quality
mm-hmm.
that the love and trust of the fellowship that makes everything else go. And so
Mm-hmm.
the being able to be people who are worthy of that trust and who expect others to be worthy of that trust and treat each other that way is paramount to inviting somebody to shift.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And if we're in that mutual relationship with each other, you can challenge. If I can trust you enough
Mm-hmm.
to be challenged by you, then I can receive that challenge and I can make a
Mm-hmm.
shift. If I don't experience that from you or you don't experience that from me, all of the best ideas on the planet are going to be, like Paul says, a noisy gong.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's that's so central to this. And so,
Mm-hmm.
when and the other piece about that is that so much trust is local. So
Mm-hmm.
it's in our interpersonal relationships, and
Yeah.
it is far easier to distrust people who are more distant from us. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why we see, national politics being so vitriolic. But if I go to my local council member, whether they're of my same party or not, we need to develop a friendship because we got to work together for, what
Yeah.
happens
Yeah.
with fireworks in our county. Um,
Right.
um, and if I need to work together with somebody in my local congregation or my local neighborhood, we know we can't just spit venom at them. We have
Mm-hmm.
to critique them, that we have to build a friendship or some level of,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not talking kumbaya love and trust. I'm talking enough to be
Right.
able to trust one another's intent and trust one another's willingness to invite. Um, and man, that is so, so important. What I find, though, is that we spend so much time trying to create a rationale, or we spend so much time trying to develop an argument, or we
Mm-hmm.
spend so much time trying to do this kind of stuff,
Right.
which no doubt is important. Um, that the best idea on the planet does not fly in a ecosystem of distrust and animosity. So
Yeah.
it's all that is to say, inviting innovation
Right.
needs to happen in an environment where people can be challenged and
Mm-hmm.
can issue challenges and can accept or reject or edit those
Yeah.
challenges for what they're up to. And
Yeah.
and that is not a mechanical thing. That's not knowing the five, key habits of the most innovative people in the world. That's not,
Yeah.
it's not a knowledge thing. It's
Right.
a relational thing.
Yeah.
And the security of somebody to take a step like that is paramount.
Yeah.
I think that's what a lot of our churches and our presbyterians and nonprofits deal with is how do we shift in this way of doing when people are
Yeah.
so comfortable in the way that they do it. Like I was church planting, I led a new worshiping community, and the stated clerk and I would sit next to each other and on church on Sunday. She's like, for what you're doing, when is this when what all the work that you're doing, that person's going to sit next to me on a Sunday morning?
Yeah.
Really the question was, when are they going to be a tithing member so that they can have, when are they going to do worship exactly like me, stand up for the gloria patri and all those different things? I'm like, you don't understand, we're trying to do something bigger than try to make a presbyterian to fill out the stewardship notes and stuff like that. And too often we get stuck in what we want people to, why we're doing Jesus things is so that we can
Yeah.
make people fit into our exact molds, as
Yeah.
opposed to we just want people to know Jesus. And if they end
Yeah.
up Presbyterians, great. But if they end up, but as long as our ultimate goal is a relationship with Jesus for
Oh,
people, it's not to
it's
make
beautiful.
Presbyterians like we'd love. We since we're all PCUSA, we're like we'd love for them all to be PCU Presbyterians, but ultimately it's about reconciling people back to God.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
The best innovation was the incarnation, and that's still true. In other words, uh, one of the threads of the experience that I've had in helping people to see something different and be willing to try it on is giving them an experience of something different to
Mm-hmm.
try on,
Mm-hmm.
rather than trying to convince them that they should get this experience to try on. I remember this was a church that was part of the Northwest Coast Presbyterian. It's one of those churches that has uh, they've both grown a lot in numbers, but they've also grown a lot in faithfulness, and they've grown a
Mm-hmm.
lot in their capacity to envision and then pursue what they are hearing from God in their vision. And I remember asking the pastor of that congregation, so when you started here 15 years ago or whenever it was, uh, how did you how did you invite people to participate in this? And he said, well, I knew of a church in a different city that had a similar kind of experience that we wanted to, at least people, uh, create for folks here. And
Mm-hmm.
so a few dozen of us got on a plane and went and experienced it. And that got me to thinking. And so we started doing these mini field trips in the Presbytery. And it's one of the reasons why, like when Sean, when you were at the property reinvention cohort, we went to Minneapolis because they had
Mm.
just done a major shift in how they reinvented their property to integrate with the community.
Yeah, it was
And
incredible.
I know it's amazing. But uh, the point is if you experience it, if you experience, or you can take a field trip and create an incarnate experience of something, um, it's far more persuasive than
Mm-hmm.
me trying to convince you that we should do this. um, and so I keep thinking, how do we get people closer to what, the psalmist said, taste and see that the Lord is
Mm.
good, or
Mm.
get closer to taste something, not just think about it, but to experience it as a way of helping people to see and experience something different that they might be willing to try on. So,
Mm.
I think that's
Yes.
interesting, trying to get people to experience things as opposed to like too often we try to tell Francis and I are trying to tell people that here's what culture needs to be and look like.
right.
But maybe we need to take them to places where they see where it's succeeding. And it might not be another presbytery. It might be an organization. Hey, let's bring in a
Yeah.
CEO of somewhere
Yeah.
where it's working or something like that. Like we
Right.
had a conversation with Kevin Riley. I'm like, I want to bring
Oh,
Kevin Riley
fun.
down to San Diego to do
Yeah, you do.
something to
Yeah.
talk about. He was talking about failure, and I was
Yeah.
like, we need that. Like, it's one thing for me to talk about. Okay, it's okay to fail, but it's different for Kevin Riley to stand there and talk about failure and what it
Yeah.
means for him, like
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
people to experience it.
That's powerful, isn't it? Wow, what
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
story.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing.
Well, Kevin's story is also on one of the podcasts. So if you're interested, do go through it. And Kevin Riley.
Francis is the plug. Francis is the plugger today.
You
I know
got to.
we only have like five
So
minutes
good.
left with you, so there's a
Oh, yeah,
couple
yeah.
questions that we have for you. One, I have because we didn't even get to even what we were supposed to talk about. We just got
Well, let's
stuck
do
in
it
this
again.
innovation thing. So we'll
Yeah.
totally do part two. But what are the books that you are reading? As you are this guru type person that Francis and I look up to, and so many people in the denomination look. What are you reading that we should read?
Wow.
It better not be the Bible.
It is the Bible, but we're looking for something beyond the
What
Bible.
I'm saying is like that is a given.
That's awesome. So there's a couple that I think are really good. And, Francis, this is not going to be new to you. So sorry if this is old news. But one of my favorite books of the last 3 years, frankly, is this one, Imaginable by Jane McGonigal. And she wrote it in the middle of the pandemic. And it is best the best operations manual for operationalizing imagination. Imagination is one of those things that it's a God-given muscle
Hmm.
that God participates in the future, in the past, in the present, way beyond our sense of time. I mean, we just don't even get it, right? But we have built so many neurological pathways to the past and we've built industries to the past, and we've built whole fields of study to the past, and we carry it along with us. And it is essential to be able to do that. We don't build as much muscle, as much um, uh, as many systems, as much legitimacy about participating in the future, even though that's where God is all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So, and if you wonder about that, let's go read the book of Acts. So if you
Mm-hmm.
want to read the Bible, go read it beginning to end and watch every time that God was in the future already and the disciples stumble over it. and eventually discover it after 4 chapters. So it's just amazing to see
Mhm.
how Luke writes that from kind of a journalistic point of view about what's going on here. So anyway, in Imaginable, it talks so much about how our she may not use this language, but how our spirits and our brains work around imagination in the future, and exercises you can do, things you can do with your group, things you can do
Yeah.
by your own, things that you can do with your congregation, etc. And it's so cool. So much so that at when we when artificial intelligence became a thing for everyday people back in the end of 2022, we said, "Oh my gosh, we better get our hearts and heads and mind and around this." And so we started working with 3 other denominations to pull together an artificial intelligence summit, and then we made it hybrid. And last year, we worked with Jane to
Mhm.
create a social simulation that would help congregations and leaders, congregations, bid councils, anyone in the church really, to get their heads and hearts around what's up with artificial intelligence and where might we want to experience a calling to
Mhm.
make a difference in helping to shape humanity for the future in relation to artificial intelligence. And so it's a way for any everyday person to step into this conversation. You don't have to be an AI expert or something to step into this conversation about shaping the future. So anyway, imagine. Sorry, you asked a simple question. Read Imaginable.
I'm
Uh,
Amazoning it right over here on my other
Yeah,
screen as you were talking.
it's
that's awesome.
fascinating. Yeah, Corey led a seminar during the Luminosity conference in Florida, and it was packed.
Yeah,
And I didn't think it was enough time to just, I
it wasn't.
mean, it wasn't enough time. But interesting that you talk about AI.
Yeah.
We are kind of thinking about doing an episode just focusing on AI because some of the overture coming down from the General Assembly, it's
Yes.
pretty
I'm very
controversial.
excited about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
But
but
I
it's
know.
fairly controversial, and
Hmm.
because they're having to do with pastors. Are they allowed to use AI, and to what
Hmm.
extent
Hmm.
can they use AI? So I wonder if you can speak a little bit about that. I know you have to go, right? Like what? Ugh.
Let's let's dig into that in another session.
Okay,
That would be because
Okay.
that is
We will
so
come back to
good.
you.
we'll come
So
back to
good.
you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But before you go, Francis and I were talking before this. We asked this for all our guests.
Yeah.
Okay. Since Francis and I are going to Seattle apparently next month, like
Yeah.
separately with our vacations, what's your favorite food that's your comfort meal and where can we get it?
In Seattle.
In Seattle. It's got to be in Seattle now because we're all going to Seattle.
Oh, that's great. Okay, I'm going to give you 3 answers. All right.
Okay.
So one is Adrian's my spouse. Adrian and I have come to really like Indian food. And there's a great restaurant just north of downtown Seattle called the Saffron Grill.
That
It's
sounds
just,
great.
it's got a great atmosphere, fabulous food, and the people who serve there have I don't know, they've just got a really service oriented attitude, and it's very cool to go. So the Saffron Grill is a great place. Um, uh, the second is uh, I love Thai food. So it yeah, anyway,
Yeah.
it's really, really good. And there's a place called Isarn Thai, Isarn Thai. Again, it's a little, I see, I live north of Seattle, so some of these places are a little bit north.
We'll Uber.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. But it's in the suburb just north of Seattle. And oh, it's so good. But then when you guys come here, uh, if you're open to it, let me know. And I would love to take you to the place when, my family says you get to decide. Here we go. We go to McMenamin's Anderson School. It's in Bothell. The McMenamin's is a pretty common thing in the Northwest. It's not beyond the Northwest. It started in Portland, and they do this amazing thing. When they build a restaurant, quote unquote, a restaurant, quote unquote. I'll explain it in a minute. When they develop a restaurant, they always buy a property that was something else before, and they honor the history and the purpose that that property served by creating art for it, by naming
Wow.
themselves after it,
Wow.
by redoing it and really blessing the thing that was there, and then reinventing it for the present. And this was a middle school, Anderson School. So that's why they call it
Mm.
McMenamin's Anderson School. And there you've got Tavern on the Square is a great restaurant. The Woodhouse is a great restaurant there. They have a movie theater. They've got a community location. There's a hotel. If you want to stay at a cool hotel, you
Wow.
can go there. And in the hotel is the principal's office where you can get a great glass of wine. So, which actually was the former principal's
Love
office.
it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Love it.
So
Yeah.
those are the three places you should go. You should go to Saffron Grill, Isarn Thai, and Anderson School.
So before we let you go, what dish do you order from Saffron and Isar Thai? Isar Thai? Is
Yeah.
that, yeah, what do you order? What's your favorite?
Well, I go back and forth between there's a fabulous tandoori
Okay.
produced seafood trio.
Oh, seafood. Usually you
Ooh.
get the chicken and, thing, but seafood. Lovely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good. So that, and then I also just love their mango curry,
Oh,
and it's
interesting.
just so good.
Okay.
But Eastern Thai, I almost always get pad see ew with prawns.
Oh,
Pad
with the
see ew is
noodle.
one of those dishes that
Yeah.
you can get at pretty much any Thai place, but oh, it's so
Right.
good. Yeah.
Well, Corey, we appreciate your time, and we didn't
Yeah.
even get to what we were going to talk about, which was what your job is in the denomination. And so I guess we're going to do a series with you or whatever. But we
Yeah.
appreciate you spending time with us and squeezing us in. And
Yeah.
yeah, enjoy your vacation when you're supposed to take it sometime soon.
Thank you. You guys are the
Don't.
best. This is
Yes.
so fun.
Yeah, this is fun. Thank you,
And
Corey.
thanks for the opportunity to connect.
Okay, we
Wow.
appreciate you. Thank you, Corey.
Yeah.
God bless you both.